Welcome in to Campus Crossover After Dark. It's me, Henry, with Ryan, the Buffs guy. We've got Saul and Mike over there. So this is the Buffs half. This is the Arizona Wildcats half up here from PHNX. And we're going to work together to talk through the things that happened in that game.
Because I think there's a lot of shock and awe on both sides.
Yes.
And for some reason, I feel like there's more shock on your side than it is despair on ours.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
I literally feel guilty over sitting here yesterday and like trying to pretend like we were worse than you guys. I really believed that.
Yeah.
Maybe not worse, but capable of losing to Arizona.
In all fairness, though, like I'm not going to beat you guys up too much because when you're on the ground there and you see it kind of game in and game out, it's just different. And Saul and I were sitting there, and we'll get into all the details, but even when the game was 3-0 in the second quarter, I kind of turned to Saul and I'm like, man, there's still a talent disparity out here. You just felt it, even though the score didn't indicate it at the time.
I actually do disagree a bit with Mike on this. He had mentioned this earlier, and I didn't want to give it away, but I don't feel like it's such a severe talent disparity that Arizona should have lost 34-0.
Where I think the talent disparity really showed itself was in the trenches. All season, Colorado hasn't had time back there to throw the football. And so when I saw that offensive line building a pocket for Brendan Lewis, I was like, okay, so there's a big gap there. And then I thought on the other side, the Buffs were really creating pressure, really living in the backfield. So I felt like there is where you kind of saw, okay, this is kind of, to me, that was the difference in the game, was in the trenches.
Arizona was very good against the run today.
Yep.
They made Brendan Lewis beat them. And for a large stretch of the game.
We did not think he was capable
but for a large stretch of the game, that did not happen until midway through the third quarter, that all of a sudden all hell broke loose.
And that's what it was, is all hell broke loose. It's not that Brendan Lewis all of a sudden just went off. That did happen eventually, but it wasn't until he had a 20-point lead. There was a blocked punt that got returned for a touchdown.
62-yard pass for a touchdown. He went off.
Well, I mean, he had 258. I'm pretty sure he more than doubled his previous career high in passing yards.
Again, just to set the stage here, Colorado came into today with 502 team passing yards.
Total.
Second worst in the Pac-12 was Utah, 1,109. That's what we were dealing with.
And that doesn't even count the drop touchdown pass that he dropped in the end zone right there, I think.
It was a good ball.
Stanley, the first drive, right after he threw one up to Brendan Lewis, which we've been literally screaming all season, just throw it up to Brendan Lewis.
We promised he's good.
To Brendan Rice.
He's good.
I was like, what?
Yeah, sorry. Hey, don't throw it up to yourself. I mean, maybe to you. I don't know. But, yeah, we were like, throw it up to Brendan Rice, throw it up to Brendan Rice, throw it up to Brendan Rice. Finally, they do. And that kind of got them going a little bit. And then I thought I was like, what is happening when he dropped a dime into Dimitri Stanley? So it was, like I say, he's never looked like that before. He's never looked anything close to that before, which I know you guys were like probably expecting to happen. But there was just no evidence that we could have looked at to be like, oh, yeah, he's going to break out tomorrow.
Totally agree.
Now, do you see what we were talking a little bit with our with the quarterback play?
Yeah, man, those guys suck.
I mean, you know what's interesting about Arizona, and then I'll let Saul have it from here. You guys got to see up close, though, the east-west passing game that Gunnar Cruz excels at, where you don't really try to throw it downfield. Everything is kind of a 3-yard hitch, a 2-yard pass to the covered tight end. I mean, there really isn't. There was no oomph to it. And, like, the first time he threw it downfield, we were like, the heck was that right there?
Yeah.
I mean, there's just no gusto to it.
Yeah, there's no risk-taking. And that just tells me that's a quarterback that doesn't feel comfortable at all. You know what I mean? But, again, like, people are kind of trying to trash Jed Fish right now because they're like, oh, well, they're 0-6, and, they shouldn't have been doing this, and they shouldn't have been doing – the 4th and goal calls were a tragedy. Let's not get that wrong. But from the press box, when looking down on the field, there were multiple receivers open on multiple occasions that Gunnar Cruz just did not see. He had already had his mind made up, or he delivered the ball too late. It was just there was plenty out there to feast off of if you're an Arizona quarterback, but they just did not do it. And so Jed Fish is going to take a brunt of this. The play calling was terrible for Gunner Cruz in the first quarter, but after that, I felt like Gunner had plenty of chances to succeed.
Well, and play calling is really hard when you can't protect and, you're not running the ball well and those sort of things. I kind of like he I talk about sometimes how play calling is like storytelling. You have to like build a story.
Yeah.
And he did it with the jet sweeps, like we were kind of laughing about it. We're like, how many jet sweeps can they run? But that was all, building a story. So then later they could do the fake thing where they threw back the screen the other way. It got them a great 4th down conversion. What I was saying is that was the whole buildup, right? It was all building up to that play, which was a great design. But they had to use it in their own territory to convert a 4th and 3 or whatever it was. If they were able to save that play for when they finally got down in the red zone and run it there, it would have been a touchdown.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's a big issue, though, when it's the first drive of the game. And to get like 2 yards, you're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go with a jet sweep right here, which was snuffed out immediately because Colorado's like, we just saw this the previous play. There's and like Saul said, I think it's a quarterback that just doesn't have a ton of confidence. And I'm not saying the other quarterbacks for the U of A are world beaters, but there's definitely a different playbook, I guess, when Cruz is in, or there's a different playbook that's utilized because, heck, I'm not saying Will Plummer's the best, but Will Plummer came in and started chucking it. Now, he didn't complete it, but he started chucking it. Jordan McLeod, kind of the same way with Cruz. You just kind of know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned how a lot of the passing game is very horizontal. The running game is incredibly horizontal. Like, it's sideline to sideline the entire time. Everything's outside. And maybe they really just couldn't do anything if they tried to go right up the middle. And shout out to Nate Landman. I want to give you credit. But I think that you got to go right at him and try it.
I felt like they had a couple series there where they were actually the 4th and 1, like the running game had got them all the way down there to that position.
It's true.
And I did not understand why all of a sudden they backed out, went shotgun, and tried to hand the ball off and do all this cutesy fancy stuff, and it completely screwed them. Just line up behind the center and run the same shit you just did to get all the way down the field. I didn't understand that whatsoever.
The 3rd down run that was like the shotgun running back right there? It's like a pitch out that way too. Just
nobody got fooled.
And they got away with a hold on that play too.
I didn't know that. But yeah, it's tough.
I wish they would have showed a couple more replays because I thought 1 or 2 of those goal line dives might have gotten in, but and who knows, 7-6 going into half, you're feeling better about yourself, you know what I mean, and things kind of change.
What about 6-3 going into half? That was on the table.
I know. And we made fun of CU for going. Don't tell me when it's 0-0 and it's 4th and 1, you guys didn't want him to go.
That was the game-winning points.
It's true. Hey, here's what I'll say about that.
I think I tweeted that out. I said 3-0 is really going to win this game, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm sorry. When it's the first drive of the game, you're playing the worst team in college football, and you kick it from the 1.
Trust me.
Come on, dude.
This is a big problem we've had with Carl Durrell. He doesn't get aggressive.
I disagree. I mean, we saw in the Texas A&M game.
Okay, but
about the aggressiveness.
Would you have generally liked his?
I think he's been
on 4th downs.
I don't know about that. I do think he's been aggressive.
If you see Ryan a tad bit distracted, it's because the Avs game is going on. And it's a pretty good game. It's pretty exciting.
It's a big
in the
night.
bar, like you hear them get excited.
It's popping.
Like, what's going on?
I know, you got to check. But yeah, I mean, the Texas A&M game, they go for it on the 4th and goal.
Yeah.
Everybody shreds it. And after the game, Carl comes out and says, that's what we do. When we get down there, when you play good teams, you've got to get touchdowns. Because to beat good teams, you've got to get touchdowns. And it's worth that risk.
That's why they kicked a field goal.
And that's where I was going.
I mean, I guess if you look at it that way, yeah.
Exactly. Because I really do think that they looked at that defense and said, we're not giving up 20 points in this game. We're probably not giving up 17, 14. I'm not sure that they were saying we're getting a shutout and the 3 points is going to win the game, but I do think this was one where they're saying, hey, we gotta stay in front of these guys.
I'm almost happier.
And I don't mind it.
I'm almost happier though if Gunner Cruz has to go 99 yards.
Well, and that's what I was saying, because I really didn't like that after not going for that one, then they went for the next one from the 30.
Which baffled me at that point, because I'm like...
the guys, we have a solution in the chat. Justin Spears said, Spencer Rattler to Arizona, and that's it.
He needs to go home.
That's it, baby. Hey, we'll take him. Man,
Arizona people would love someone called Rattler.
Jesus.
Yeah, but I think Bob is hit the nail on the head too with why I'd go with Will Plummer, and I would have done it the entire season. At least when Plummer came into the game, it looks like he's at least trying to do things. I mean, when you watch Cruz, and it's kind of like what we talked about yesterday. You got a quarterback that's really not looking to do much.
Dude, my man lost to NAU.
Yeah, but dude,
he couldn't do anything against NAU.
But still, that's one. I mean, that's one game.
Bro, it's NAU.
He still can't. He put up 19. How many points did they? Actually, I think he only put up 13.
You guys are in a lesser of two evils situation, and
Bob, I side with you on this one.
Okay. Anyway,
let's play a game.
Yeah,
let's play a game.
Let's do it.
So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna run through a bunch of things that happened in this game. Could be plays, could be series, could be stats, and we're gonna say, okay, is this whatever it is because one team succeeded and did what it was trying to do, or is it because the other team just sucks? Because both these teams have really struggled to this point.
Yes. Okay.
And then we'll start with that to go situation. What is that called? The
goal line stand.
No,
goal to go.
Goal to go. There's the first word I was looking for. Goal to go series with Arizona. They go for it on 4th down. So Colorado stops them. We're gonna go around the panel here, starting with Mike. Credit to Colorado, or is that just bad football from Arizona?
Oh, I thought that was bad football from Arizona. That was the one thing that I can't really find. That goal line, when Arizona got down there, I thought those were all terrible. Pretty much terrible calls. Now, I'm not going to totally beat up Fish because Saul's right. Arizona had guys wide open, but that was so unimaginative down there, and it just felt like they were just getting pushed back further and further each time. Mm-hmm. I thought that was a little bit more on Arizona.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to say Arizona. And this one I will put on Jed Fish. That play calling selection was trash. Mm-hmm. And it was when you look back at it, that was the key point of the game. I feel like outside of the block punt, which changed everything.
Mm-hmm. I agree. That's just bad play calling in my opinion.
I will say you got to stop it. So I thought Colorado did a good job of taking that away. I just thought Arizona. If I were them, I would have gone back to the formation where they were using all the jet sweep stuff. At least make Colorado think, okay, are they doing jet sweep? Are they doing handoff, fake jet sweep, or are they going to run that screen? You just make them freeze a little bit. So, I mean, usually when a team can't score from, was it 1st and goal from the 1?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was 1st.
Yeah, when you have 4 chances from the 1, it's your fault. But I will say I thought Colorado really built their backs there and had a nice stop.
All right. We can move along.
For what it's worth, I also wanted to add, and you'll probably mention all of these things. I really think that there's 3 plays that made this game from a close game to a blowout.
Yeah,
which is pretty crazy.
It is. Let's get to one of them, that block punt. Yep. Credit to Colorado, or is that just bad from Arizona?
No, that's credit to Colorado.
I'll give you kudos on that.
Yeah, you got to give them the love on the special teams front. I've been watching how close Colorado had been getting to the punter the whole game, and I mean there was a couple times where maybe it looked like it was close, but he was punting the ball pretty well today, and then he wasn't, and then you guys blocked it, and then subsequently after that he couldn't put the ball on a dime like he had been, and he just kept kicking the ball through the end zone. He was like, I just want to get it off.
Man,
I don't even care anymore.
There were some really good punts before that.
Yeah.
They were all in the end zone afterwards. I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, so
he was hitting bombs though. They were just going into the end zone.
It is true. It is true.
You guys get full credit on that.
I'm with you guys.
For sure.
I'm with you guys.
I will say I thought Arizona, the punter looked a little lackadaisical there, and also the blocker just kind of got pushed back.
He got beasted
by a freshman who doesn't play anywhere except for on that unit.
It's
true.
He blocked it, returned it the whole 9 yards.
It was an awesome moment for him.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go with how about the 9 tackles for loss, 25 yards for Colorado? Is that Colorado's defense? Is that the Arizona offense?
I think it's a little of both because
that's the right answer.
Arizona gives you a lot of opportunities to get tackles for loss because, first of all, you generally don't see a lot of tackles for loss on passing plays, which Arizona does excel at this season. And you had, without looking, I would assume that a couple of those were in there. But like you just said, too, there's just so much east-west in what they do, whether that's designed or whether it's just what happens, that I think it's a little bit of both, but you still got to tackle the guy. And, so I go 50-50 on that one.
Yeah, I agree. It's easy to blame Arizona for everything, but you do have to give your defense a ton of credit too, because they did a lot of good things out there. I love Landeskog, by the way. You were talking about like, hey, you were talking about
you mean Landman?
my Landman.
Landman.
Oh,
See,
that's
now you're
going.
getting distracted by that.
I love where that was going.
Not only me
That's
getting distracted by that.
My bad. I was distracted. Yes, I was like, Landis guy. You gave me that look, and I was like, where the fuck did I get that name from? Then Landman. Yeah, I love him.
Both captains.
He's a beast. I love it. I might buy his shirt. I don't know. We'll
Dude,
see.
he's just like a kind of an old school type.
Yeah.
I mean, even all the way down to the neck roll.
Yeah.
Like he's out
true.
there to pop dudes, and he's awesome. I'll say, I gotta. If I had to choose one side or the other, I'd choose Arizona on this one.
You're giving us credit for the tackles for loss for Colorado.
Yes.
Thanks.
Carson Wells has been pretty quiet all season.
Yeah, he had 3.5 tackles for loss coming into this game.
And he had 5 tackles for loss, a sack, and a pick 6 in this game.
4.
Okay, 4 tackles for loss, a sack, and a pick 6 in this game. He was amazing last season.
He led the league in tackle, or led the country in tackles for loss.
Country in tackles for loss. So, he obviously is a big-time player, but they kind of it was like a get-right game for him. I blame Arizona for that.
Yep. And again, like, he made some good plays. So many horizontal runs. And that just creates opportunities to go backwards.
We're talking about new offenses, a new era. You know what? Maybe Arizona's on the cutting edge of something there.
Yeah, move those end zones to the sideline.
Saying, man,
Maybe there's something
Maybe we're
there.
going to expand the field.
Yes, expand the field. Let's see. What else do we have going on here?
The pick 6.
Yeah, we could do the pick 6
That
too.
to me is the third play. It's the 4th and goal that they didn't get. It's the blocked punt, and it's that pick 6. You take away those, those 3 plays go the other way around. I think you actually have a close game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you take 14 points off the board.
It's
Number one.
13-0 before the blocked punt for a touchdown. So it's still
no, it wasn't. Was it?
Yes, it was.
Block punt, it was 6-0 before, and then it got to 13.
Yeah,
Yep.
then it got
That
to
made it
13.
to 13?
Yeah,
Yep.
and then the pick 6 made it 20.
Yep.
And then the
offense got
62-yard
So
touchdown.
it really
Yep.
was.
Yeah,
like
that's
that,
what I'm saying. It's like, I mean, I literally, even when it got to 20-0, and this is going to be one of my other points, I sat there and I said, it's not like if they could just find these guys that are open, they're right back in this game. It sounds stupid because they haven't scored a single point, but you just never knew when Will Plummer came in, maybe something was going to happen.
Yeah.
And trust me, we were worried about that because 2 different times Arizona has called on a backup quarterback to come in and beat the Buffs.
Yeah, and then it didn't happen.
It did not.
And
Spoiler alert.
Your fucking guy, I swear.
But yeah, I think that interception, it was a good play from Carson Wells. I think that there are some interceptions where it just kind of thrown right at him, especially to linebackers.
Yes.
He did see that the guy was open. It was in between, I think it was a cover 2, and he had the outside somehow. I don't even know how that works. But he jumped in, he read it, he got in front of the guy. At the same time, it's a short pass that can't get picked off. You've got to see that that guy can get there.
You could see the hitch in his throw. He dropped back. He saw him right when he was here, and he was like, meh.
Was it 4th
And it gave
down
him
or
time.
3rd?
It was third.
Okay. Yeah, he was forcing for sure. It was like, I'm throwing it no matter what, and it came back to bite him. That one, it was so right in his chest. I don't know if I can give Carson too much credit. I'll give him credit for the return, though. I'll say 50-50.
Okay.
That's fair. It is kind of crazy just running through some of these numbers, to talk about how close this game it was in a way. You look at the number of plays, 70-58 in favor of Arizona, and some of that's because you get the quick touchdowns. You look at the time of possession in favor of Arizona, more first downs. There are a bunch of those things that they don't make you think Arizona should have won the game, but you look at those stats and see 34-0, and you're just like, how does that even happen?
Yeah,
I'm with you there.
I agree.
Anything else you guys want to throw in before we wrap this up?
No, I just want to talk
this part?
about Brendan Rice.
One thing I do want to give kudos
Okay.
for with the U of A that I think is important that gets overlooked, these kids all try. I mean, this is the thing. You see a lot of teams where you've got guys that just end up quitting, or you've got players that just end up quitting. You see it all the time. I mean, they battle to the end.
I mean, we're going to get to that here in a second.
Okay, cool.
Oh, yeah, in the third segment.
Okay, my bad. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah.
I just
I think he might have thought you were going to wrap up the show.
Oh, no.
No, I was like, well, I don't know exactly where we're going here, so I'm going to throw that. But yeah,
That's
No,
why we
nobody
have
does.
segments,
we
Mike.
got plenty of time. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. First of all, Breckenridge Brewery.
Oh, yes.
We had a couple of Breckenridge beers. I only had one. I was responsible. I was a working member of the media, so I had one seltzer before the game. It was super good. I wanted more.
Just
I resisted.
to lubricate the tweets, right?
Exactly, and they were firing off today. Yeah, got another one going. The Strawberry Sky. We got Breckenridge
man,
beers all
I'm
over
totally
because it
stealing
is the
that.
best stuff.
Oh man, I might make that a poster in my office. You got to lubricate the tweets.
We do love Breckenridge Brewery, not just because they lubricate the tweets. They lubricate all sorts of things for us, and we're done with that word. I'm in timeout for that
Oh
word
my
for the rest of the
gosh.
night. If you guys want to check them out, use the
Do you want to have
beer
a sip of my
locator.
moist beer?
Of course
Moist
not.
is just equally as bad.
No,
Oh.
I'm not doing that. But yeah, the beer locator, breckbrew.com. It'll tell you where you can pick it up. If you're watching this in Colorado, it's probably every grocery store around you, the gas stations, all that. If you're watching Arizona, use that beer locator because it's around. It's in 30 states, it's not just in Colorado, and it's great stuff. Also,
What
want
are
to
the
give
other 20 states doing? How do they live without
Seriously,
it?
talk about late.
They
to the
probably
game.
they also probably are not legalized over there too.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Adds up.
Shout out Kentucky.
DraftKings. If you guys watched yesterday, you know that our consensus pick of the week was the under, and we all made money.
Yes, we did.
It was an easy decision. I'm not sure this is what we thought the score would look like, but we were correct. We got our money, and you could have too if you just
Easiest
buy
bet
in.
you could have made all year.
I know,
The
it's
under.
incredible.
It almost got way closer than it should have been.
Yeah. After the first quarter, they dropped the over from 46 to like 27.
Yes.
They're like, oh shit.
You're like, man,
Never mind.
Our bad.
Yeah, I sold it down. No, I bought it down.
You bought it up or sold it down?
I sold it down. I sold it down to 40 and a half. And so
you
that
started
means
to
that
sweat.
if they got a touchdown
Yeah.
on that last drive, it doesn't hit. But instead, it was plus 175. And so I felt pretty good about that.
To use that 25% boost from DraftKings too?
I couldn't get it to load because and I was in a rush because I was late before thing. I was just like, I'm just going to make my money. Also, though, right now, if you bet $1 on any NFL game and you're a new user, tomorrow you get $100 in free bets if either team scores a point in that game. It's a great deal. Make sure that you figure out what you're betting on tonight. It makes it a lot easier. And remember, the last 0-0 tie in the NFL was in 1943, so it's a no-brainer.
I think that was the last time Arizona won a game too.
Nice.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Download the DraftKings
Disregard
Sportsbook
that.
app now. Use the promo code DNVR and bet $1 on any NFL game to win $100 in free bets if either team scores a point. That's promo code DNVR this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only, new customers only, restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. Last but not least, ball. Ball as in ball arena, as in ball aluminum, basically.
No, not pens?
I don't think so.
Oh, not ballpoint pens, no.
Okay.
No,
All right.
that would be, maybe that's next. They do all sorts of
next.
stuff.
They do. Maybe you make them out of aluminum.
Most cans, Ryan, you should see if that can is a ball can.
Of course it's a ball can.
Every can is
All
a ball
cans are ball
can.
cans.
They made 101 billion cans last year.
Wow.
And if anybody watching wants to help out and make some cans,
And
they're
your glass, apparently. And your glass,
can-
apparently.
I believe it. Probably. Who knows? But they have a plant in Golden that is hiring. It's a 400-person plant. And if you text Golden to 77222, you can get set up with all that information. You can also go to jobs.ball.com and search for Golden. You'll be good to go.
Great place to work.
It is.
So we've heard from Zach's Aunt Julie.
And from... I didn't know that.
Yes.
But I didn't know that. Okay, good to know. But also from the Human Rights Campaign, give it a 100% corporate equality
Yes.
index. That's a big number.
I thought you were going
That's
to say,
what
hey,
you
if you
wanna
use promo code like DNVR, you get like a $5 raise.
$5 an hour more. Limited
Your salary
time.
will be this, but now it'll be this.
Ball makes ballpoint pens.
Wow.
Apology accepted.
Are they? Wow. You deserve better.
I do deserve better. Today, we got shit on, and I just got shit on again. I do deserve better.
At least you got a Breck brew.
He said,
All right.
ballpoint pens.
Let's get back to some football here.
Yeah, let's do it.
You wanted to talk about Brendan Rice
And Brendan Lewis.
and Brendan Lewis.
Brendans.
So we played that game a little bit. How much credit do we give to the one team or the other? When it comes to Brendan Lewis, we've talked about the numbers. Is Brendan Lewis good? or is this just a 1 week
Here,
gift
I don't think
from
you're.
Arizona?
I don't think you're framing this in a fair way. But
okay.
Here's my official scouting report on Brendan Lewis.
Okay.
Brendan Lewis is better than every U of A quarterback. Brendan Lewis is not a good quarterback.
yeah.
He's just not. Like, that whole first half, I wanted to pull my hair out. I was like, dude, what?
Yep.
Why are you missing these simple throws? You don't see the field for shit. You're not very fast. I thought you'd be faster. He's really hesitant in the pocket, really slow delivery. Like, I don't like anything about Brendan Lewis outside of the fact that he had probably one of the prettiest throws that I've seen all year
He had
on that 62-yard just dime of a pass. I give him credit for that. That
was a good pass.
When he threw that, I was like, there's no way that's going to get there. And then it got there. It was perfectly placed.
He had 2 throws in the first half that none of our guys could make. Period. He had the
one in the back of the end zone.
The one in the back of the end zone. Then he had the one up the sideline that was caught. I can't remember exactly what it was for the yardage, but I came away thinking exactly like that. He's not good, so don't mistake that. But he would take every single snap at Arizona. That's the difference.
Here's what I came away from today, and I don't think it's fair to say is he good or is Arizona
first
bad
step.
because he's not yet.
Yeah.
But I think that's the important thing. Is I think his biggest issue is confidence. He has not been confident, and even going all the way back to that UNC game, which was his first true start, he was not confident in that game, and it wasn't really a confidence-building game for him. He didn't get off, a 62-yard touchdown pass, or he didn't heat up. Like, he actually heated up in this game. He got hot.
Yeah.
At one point, late in the game, he had, 4 or 5 straight completions?
Yeah.
Never done that
That's
before.
new.
So, to me, he's not good yet, but this was definitely a confidence-building win for him. And I saw him get to his back foot, go to his read, and deliver the football, which is something I've never seen him do before. So, while that you absolutely have to take the opponent into consideration here, I just think the fact that he built confidence today, and I even heard his post-game interview on the radio afterwards, and he just sounded like someone who was like feeling himself a little bit. Like,
Good.
I can play quarterback
Yeah.
at this level.
Listen.
And whether he can or not is to be seen, but you definitely can't if you don't believe you can.
Yeah.
And I feel like he took a step in the right direction today to believing that he can.
Listen, when you have a quarterback that goes up against anybody, any game you can lose or gain confidence.
Yep.
I saw it against San Diego State when Gunnar Cruz basically lost all his confidence.
Yep.
And then you see it against Will Plummer, where he comes in and you're thinking, okay, this guy's he has to lead them to victory, and he kind of faded and he lost confidence. You know what I mean? And I think that affects quarterbacks as you move forward. So I get your point. Like, it doesn't matter how good or bad Arizona is. It's just another stepping stone to maybe better things in the future, and hopefully quickly, because if you guys get another good quarterback, he ain't going to play anymore.
I'm cool with his arm talent. I mean, I don't think he can really read the field, but I thought he could make some throws. I thought he could make the throws necessary. I just don't know that he can read the field.
Yeah, and he is athletic enough to escape out of sacks. Like, he was able to do that today.
Yeah.
So he's a long ways away, but at least he took a step
This
in
was
the
a
right
step
direction.
in the right
today.
direction for him.
Yeah. And just to talk about the confidence a little bit more, in the press conference, it was actually the first time we'd heard from him since the Texas A&M game.
Wow.
He hasn't talked to the media at all.
Wow.
Yeah, which is interesting. Again, confidence thing probably. But he was asked just straight up, like, do you see the things that people are saying about you? Like, does that affect your confidence? He just said, like, I don't see it. I don't hear anything about it. Just put his head down a little bit, and that was that. And it's like, oh boy, that's a man who's heard a lot of things said about him.
Yeah.
Another thing that Carl said, though, is that during this bye week, he went up in front of the team and said, we do not have a Brendan Lewis problem. He has some issues, but we have a protection problem.
He said that?
The receivers are in front of the entire team. He went and
He
said,
he has some issues.
oh yeah, Brendan does.
No, he was saying
I know, but
he was saying like this is not a Brendan Lewis problem. He has things to improve on.
Yep.
But so do all of you.
So does the
Oh,
offensive
gotcha,
line.
gotcha,
so
gotcha.
do the receivers.
I
So
thought he
is
was
everybody.
saying that to the team.
He was.
Yeah, he told the whole team that.
Oh, see, I don't even like that part. Like, hey, we don't have a quarterback problem. Sure, he sucks in some ways, but so do all of you, is what I heard.
I hope he didn't frame it quite like that. But yeah, I mean, They got to the point, though, where he just said, like, after that, there was no more finger pointing, and we've been good to go. It's like, if that's where you are.
If I was in that locker room when I was a player, I'd be like, bro, like, I play left guard, okay? I'm not affecting this game outside of maybe missing a block.
What I really liked is that he was elected by his teammates to be a captain today, because I truly thought that he had completely lost them.
That's the last hope.
Yeah.
If you're not dumb, right? If as a player you're not dumb, like, dude, if Brendan's gonna get a win, it's gonna be today.
Right.
So we got to gas him up.
Gas him up, but that's good.
Yeah.
Good job
sure.
on them, because it
Absolutely.
worked. It totally worked. Again, he wasn't perfect, and I hate when they do the run pass thing, because it just sets him up for failure.
Yeah.
And it happened the entire first half, but he got hot, and I love that whoever was calling the plays today, which is probably a conversation for another day. I love that whoever was calling the plays kept throwing the ball when they were up 20-0, because they very easily they knew they were going to win the game at that point.
Yeah.
They could have sat on it, but they said, "Hey, we got to get this kid some confidence, and there's open receivers out there, so let's see if he can hit them."
Yeah. It's a crazy thing. He only completed 12 passes today.
It
just felt like
120.
so many. It felt like so many completions.
Like I said, there is a big disparity to me between your guy's quarterback and our guy's starting quarterback. And I'm not saying your guy's quarterback is, an all Pac-12 guy.
Because Gunnar Cruz has arm talent too.
What I will say, though, is one of those guys had time and the other guy didn't.
Oh, man, I don't know.
I think the problem, though, is even when Gunnar has time, like, I think he's so predisposed to just wanting to throw the quick horizontal pass that gets the ball out of his hands that
Just give this thing to someone else.
Yeah, it's like a hot potato, man.
for sure.
I want to look at what were his stats.
Gunnar Cruz?
Yeah.
13 to 22, 82 yards and an interception.
He had more completions than Brendan.
Yeah.
Lewis.
He did.
It's crazy.
So he's
played the whole
averaging
game.
about 3.5 yards a pass.
Yes, 3.7 to be exact. Brendan Lewis, on the other hand, 13.1. Pretty impressive.
Interesting. But yeah. I want to hear about, let's get into Brendan Rice too. Because he's an
Arizona
game.
native, Chandler High School.
Exactly.
Jerry Rice's son.
As we have heard plenty.
I would imagine so.
Yeah. Hear a lot about that. A lot of headlines whenever he does something good. I bet you can go on ESPN right now. There's a clip that says, Jerry Rice's son catches 62-yard touchdown pass. Won't even throw his name in there. But yeah, it was a good day for Brendan Rice. And I think that that's exciting for CU fans just because, we've said over and over again, like, we don't even know if the receivers are good. We know that they're talented. We know that they're fast. We know that we're excited. But because of the passing game, you just don't even know. But Brendan really broke out today, and that is really exciting to see.
We bitched and moaned about the quote about subtle changes all week long because it sounded so dumb. To give you guys perspective, Carl Durrell said during the bye week they didn't fire anyone, they didn't change anything on offense. In terms of play caller or whatever, he just said, we were making some subtle changes. And for a team that was averaging 8.5 points per game against FBS opponents, that made people really mad that all they were making was subtle changes during the bye week.
Nobody else in the country under 13, by the way, just for a little perspective.
If the subtle change...
And those ones aren't making subtle changes.
No.
If the subtle change was get the ball to Brendan Rice, count me in. Count me in on the subtle change.
Just real quick on Brendan Rice, because I'm kind of a recruiting nerd when it comes to stuff. And so Chandler and Chandler Hamilton High School in Arizona are, I think there's a stat that within the last, and I think our guy Justin Spears is listening, so he might have the actual numbers on this. But the guys that have come out of Chandler are crazy, or in that area, Terrell Suggs, Deion Jordan, Cameron Jordan, it's just loaded. But I watched him probably 3 years ago, and this is before I knew that he was Jerry Rice's kid. And your eyes immediately kind of gravitate towards him. He looks the part.
big.
He looks the way that your modern 2021 wide receiver is supposed to look. So just from my perspective, not actually watching you guys closely, because believe it or not, I like watching good football.
Fair.
When I can.
That's a good one. You got us.
He's a guy though that it makes sense that he's good. I guess I'll put it to you like that.
Yeah, and I'm really relieved to see him get some chances and get the ball, because as he's running routes and getting open and the ball's never going near him all season, I'm thinking this guy's going to transfer.
It's a business decision.
Right.
If you don't have a quarterback, how do you go to the NFL?
I mean, that's true, absolutely. But that's why, that's why we're going to get the Oklahoma quarterback, and then Brendan Rice will transfer to Arizona and be back home. Everything's all good, baby. Let's go.
Already took Jason Harris from us.
I know, and he's been good. He's been very good for us.
Huh.
Been very good.
I wonder what
am I
that was all
thinking,
about.
No, his brother.
thinking
It's
Jalen.
his older brother.
Yeah. Never mind.
That dude's big.
Yeah.
I always thought Jason should be playing basketball. Jason is a stud basketball, and he's legitimately 6'8". You watch him; he was on the field before the game talking with some old Colorado teammates, and I mean, you guys know this. He's a tall dude, man.
Yeah, he is. Someone tweeted like dunking on him after the game for transferring. So
Interesting. I was hoping that the Arizona website would have his weight, just because I'm curious what that is.
He's probably about 245.
Yeah.
He's about 6'8", 245.
Big kid.
I mean, he's
Big
put
kid.
some on since he was at Colorado, but
He's just
to play defensive line.
He got a basketball player build, man. When you've got that build, it's difficult to. You can put on muscle, but he's never going to be like. If you see his father played in the NFL, he was part of the Desert Swarm. If you stand next to his father, Sean Harris, he's legitimately 6'3", 250, and just like that
bulky,
broad bulk. His sons are far more angular than that.
But I thought if Jason can end up looking like Jalen, because I thought Jalen looks like he has a lot more muscle and bulk on him.
For sure. He's also not quite as tall as Jason, so that helps a little bit, but your point's well taken. I mean, Jalen's put on a lot of good weight.
Yeah, good for him.
All right, before we wrap things up, let's just get some big takeaways.
Oh, I got one more thing to talk about.
Oh, you do?
Oh, yeah. Maybe you guys didn't get my text. Is this the worst college football team and could in the history of college football? Like, it's hard for me to say that because I haven't seen some of those like lower Division I teams all the time. So I don't think Arizona from a talent perspective is quite there. But I will say this. Next year, they got to play San Diego State, Mississippi State, and North Dakota State. If you know anything about them, they're a powerhouse. And they could easily beat any Power 5 school at any point in time. They've beaten Kansas State. They've beaten other teams. So it's legit possibility. Arizona might lose the rest of these games. So that's 6 on top of the 0-6 that they already are. And they've already got an 18-game losing streak, so that makes 24. If they lose at least 10 more games next season, they will tie the record for most consecutive losses with Northwestern.
A hot
in the
take.
80s.
The game after that's Utah on the road. I don't think they're winning that one. They're getting the record.
Okay, let me ask you this: how long until Jordan McLeod comes back?
Next year.
He's going to come back next year, but also on top of that, we got the 4-star recruit quarterback coming from Hawaii.
You got to from Anaheim, California. Yeah, you're good. Noah Fafita.
Same thing.
Kid out. Yeah, Anaheim, Hawaii, same song. But yeah, but at the same time though, I mean, he's going to be a freshman quarterback, so
I'll take my bet that they don't set the record. I think they get a win at some point.
Let me ask you this,
I think
Saul.
they set the record.
When you were talking
They
about
won't
the
win
worst
this year, though.
When we're talking about the worst teams in Power 5 history, are we overlooking last year's Arizona team?
Yes, but again, I will say this. When you're talking about a program that gets to this point, right, it's so much more than just the current regime. Like, they had to deal with shitty-ass recruiting from Rich Rod, okay, who didn't even want to recruit Texas until, the last year or two that he was at U of A.
That's bold.
And that's because my guy Justin Spears literally called him out on it during a press conference. Not even kidding you, a month later they're in Texas recruiting. Because they didn't have any size.
Yeah.
And all the big boys are in Texas. Everybody knows that.
Yep.
And so then after that, you bring in Sumlin, who could care less about anything going on with U of A. That guy, I'm surprised he even found the stadium to do his damn job. Even on TV, you would watch him and be like, dude, does this guy even
I remember feeling that. I thought that from this side.
It was awful. So then, and he barely even touched the ground, used a fucking chopper to get to high school games and didn't do dick with it. I'm not even kidding you. There's footage out there of that. Yes.
No.
Yes. 1,000,000% yes.
Solid flex.
So yeah, he was like, oh yeah, the show's here. Like, dude, my high school team is better than the guys you're recruiting. Shut up. And so now Jedd Fisch is here trying to clean up. And when you have a level of inadequate talent compared to your opposition, every little error is in a microscope. every little flaw, every little thing that you do, because you have no margin of error.
Yeah.
Like, there's just nothing there to play with. So you have to play almost a perfect game every single time. And Arizona's just not good enough to do that. Today, they played a very solid game, I thought, defensively. They came up, they broke down a couple times, which led to a couple field goals. But outside of that, I thought they played a very good game. The offense continuously, the offense moved the ball. They got, maybe 10,
Couple
20,
first
30
downs,
yards
yeah.
on, a couple possessions. They just can never get it done because they would shoot themselves with the foot with a stupid penalty or all these other things. And then you throw in the play calling of Jedd Fisch. Jedd Fisch is in an almost unwinnable position right now, and he's doing his damnedest. I know he's doing his damnedest. I know a lot of those guys that are on those on the coaching staff and behind the scenes that are busting their ass to try and renovate this program that is absolutely in the shitter. And it's in the shitter because you had dudes that didn't give a shit about the red and blue of Arizona. They didn't live and breathe it. These dudes do. They're going to turn it around. You just got to have faith. We all knew this was coming. I don't think people thought it would get to this extent, or it's just different when you're in the moment experiencing it. And so that's all I have to say to Wildcat Nation.
I'm going to say
hang in there. It's going to be okay.
I'm going to say last year's team was worse because last year's team had a coaching staff that didn't care. To answer Saul's question, no, it's not the worst team. Last year's team was.
I mean, just watching Jarek Broussard run for 300 yards last year versus 50 today. There's a big difference there.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll get a win, and I also think they'll eventually get a quarterback because Jedd Fisch is a quarterback guy, and when you have quarterback, you have a chance.
I will say this. If there's anything that could redeem this season and possibly burn Tucson all the way down to the ground, it's if they actually end up beating ASU the last game of the year. I swear.
Wow.
I will make a bet right now. I will wear a freaking Speedo in the mall if U of A beats ASU. You can write that. You can record it. I don't give a shit. It'll happen.
I love that.
I would say there's almost a 0% chance of that happening, but rivalry games are crazy, especially that one. So anything can happen.
I really
last
wish
thing
I
I
didn't say
wanted
that
to
on
say.
tape.
Wait, my contribution to this, North Dakota State next year, winnable. I don't think they get it. They also have Washington State at home next year, winnable. Don't think they get that one either. But the revenge game week 1 of 2023 against Northern Arizona, that's when the streak ends. Worst case scenario.
That would be 36 games.
Worst case scenario.
36 game losing streak.
I'm calling that a lock right now.
Oh, God.
DraftKings pick of the week for next week. Hang on to this one for the last week of August in 2023.
Last thing I wanted to say is just this was a real perspective game for CU fans. And it was really important to have because everyone I talked to before the game thought we were going to lose. I mean, I had friends placing multiple $100 bets on Arizona money line as like an emotional hedge.
Oh my God.
But just saying like
emotional hedge for sure.
But just saying like there's just we can't win a game without a quarterback. And so this I think this was a really needed breath of fresh air. Breath of fresh air for CU fans, and also a perspective of just like, okay, it definitely, like, people are thinking like it can't get worse than this.
Yep.
It can get worse.
Also, shout out to Fernando Parra in the stream in the chat. He had this really cool comment. Said, as a DNVR member and a U of A fan, this PHNX/DNVR crossover has been the highlight of the football season for me. Thanks, guys, for all the great content.
Hopefully he's a basketball fan too. We'll have some cool stuff then.
Absolutely. I can't wait to turn the tables.
I can wait. My last thought, though, I totally agree. This was needed.
Yeah.
And it just kind of changes the complexion a little bit at this point. Now all of a sudden, I don't say that you expect to go into Cal and beat Cal, but at least it feels like it's very much on the table. It's a realistic possibility. Whereas going into this week, it was just don't screw this one up, because if you screw this one up,
it's off the rails forever.
We're calling this a one-win season until it isn't.
Yeah.
And now you look at that game. You look at the Oregon State game, and you're like, okay, there's potential
Oregon
to
State
do
is
something.
Good.
It is good,
Oregon
but it's
State's
still
legit,
Oregon State.
but they're also on the upward trajectory. I'm a big fan of Jonathan Smith.
I won't be predicting them to win those games, but I do now expect them to be competitive until they aren't.
Yeah.
And that's very possible that they won't be.
Yeah. And you look at the other games, you've got Cal, Oregon, Oregon State, UCLA, Washington, Utah. Maybe
Telling you, man.
Washington's more weighting than Oregon State, but at least you're not just expecting a bloodbath every single week, and that part of it is it's refreshing. Brendan Lewis is fun. We'll see what happens.
We're here to
Today
help.
he was.
Yeah.
Yes,
We appreciate you guys.
We're here to help.
Also, this was really fun. I'm glad we did
It was really fun.
and it's great having you guys out here. So.
No, I appreciate you guys letting us be part of your crew for the weekend, and this was
Very much
really
so.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
was.
Maybe we'll come back up for the Colorado U of A basketball game.
You better.
Please
Maybe
do.
I'll head down for the Colorado UA basketball
You're
game.
more than welcome.
Good luck.
We'll talk about that.
I don't think you're ready for that smoke.
I don't know. That scrimmage this morning looked nice. They're knocking down some threes. We'll talk when it's time.
There we go.
That'll do it for all of us. Shout out to producer Kale behind the scenes,
Kale,
and
Kale.
appreciate all you guys for listening. Give us a thumbs up on the way out, whether you're watching on the PHNX, whether you're watching on DNVR. Maybe jump over to the other and give them both a
that's
like.
real love.
Wouldn't mind that. Maybe subscribe to both. I don't know.
That would be fantastic.
Throwing the
Hint,
idea out there. That's gonna do it for today, and we will see you guys at some point